If you're able to donate blood and you're healthy enough to donate blood, it's not a your blood could save life, it's your blood will save a life.
In a tale that blurs the lines between reality and fabrication, we unravel the intricate story of Kelly Ronahan.
Going for surgery number 2, and I'm really scared.
Her life, a complex tapestry of deception, poses a riveting question. How far can one go in the quest for attention and sympathy? The early years, seeds of a dark journey. Kelly Ronahan's life, like a shadowed ballet, danced between light and darkness from its very inception. Born into a family divided, Kelly and her twin sister Jenny were separated early in life, a divide that laid the foundation for a journey marked by turbulence and a desperate search for identity. Growing up, Kelly lived with her father, while Jenny was raised by their mother. Despite sharing classrooms, the twins had no meaningful relationship. This lack of connection and shared identity with her twin seemed to gnaw at Kelly's sense of individuality. She yearned to be recognized as her own person, not merely as the twin sister of Jenny. Adolescence brought its own set of challenges. Kelly, often feeling misunderstood and sidelined, began exhibiting signs of behavioral troubles. She often clashed with teachers and peers, an outward manifestation of her inner turmoil. Academic life, too, suffered under this weight. A lack of motivation and direction led her to abandon school at the tender age of 16, a decision that set her on a path far from the traditional roads to success. But amidst this chaos, there was one constant: her love for ballet. Kelly had been introduced to the art at the age of 5 and quickly showed a natural aptitude for it. Ballet was not just a hobby, it was her refuge, a place where she felt in control and truly herself. Her talent and dedication were undeniable. Yet the same inner demons that tormented her life outside the dance studio eventually crept into this sanctuary. The pressure she put on herself was immense, and in time, it became too much. Ballet, her one true passion, was also abandoned. The next phase of her life was marked by instability. She moved frequently, staying in hostels and at friends' houses, living a life far removed from the discipline and structure of ballet. It was during this period that she began to explore the nightlife, a world that was both exhilarating and dangerous. To make ends meet, she resorted to selling her body, a choice that, while providing immediate financial relief, further complicated her already tumultuous life. Her relationship with her father, too, was fraught with difficulties. Kelly faced physical and mental abuse, the details of which are too harrowing to recount. This abusive environment only added layers to her already complex psychological profile. Kelly began documenting her life and struggles through photographs, sharing them on the internet. The response she received was overwhelming. Words of support and encouragement poured in from strangers, sowing the seeds of what would become a dangerous and deceptive practice. The internet became her stage, and she, a performer in a tragedy of her own making. The ballet and the breakdown. The world of ballet, often perceived as an ethereal realm of grace and beauty, was Kelly Ronahan's first love and sanctuary. Her journey in this demanding art form began at the tender age of 5. It was more than a discipline for her. It was a medium through which she could express herself, channeling her emotions into every pirouette and ply. In this world of structured elegance, Kelly found her footing, her identity, and a sense of purpose that was otherwise missing from her life. As she grew older, her talent in ballet became increasingly evident. She was not just another student in the class. She was a standout performer whose dedication and skill caught the eye of her instructors. Ballet was a demanding mistress, requiring hours of practice, unwavering commitment, and a resilience to overcome the physical and mental challenges it posed. Kelly met these demands with a fierce determination, often pushing her body and mind to their limits. It was in these moments of intense practice and performance that she felt most alive, most in control. However, the world of ballet is as punishing as it is beautiful. It demands perfection, not just in performance, but also in appearance. The pressure to maintain a certain body image is immense, and many dancers fall prey to eating disorders and body dysmorphia in their pursuit of this ideal. Kelly, too, found herself caught in this vicious cycle. Her desire to excel in ballet led to an unhealthy obsession with her body image and weight. This obsession, coupled with the pressures of an increasingly competitive environment, began to take a toll on her mental health. Behind the glamour of her performances, Kelly's life was unraveling. The constant scrutiny and the need to be perfect on stage led to anxiety, and depression. The once therapeutic art form began to feel like a prison. She was trapped in a cycle of self-critique and perfectionism, her own worst critic. Ballet, which had once been a source of joy and escape, was now a source of immense stress and unhappiness. The breaking point came in her late teens. The combination of mental health issues, the pressure to maintain a perfect image, and the physical demands of ballet became overwhelming. Kelly made the heart-wrenching decision to step away from the art form that had defined so much of her life. This decision was not just the end of her ballet career, it was the end of a chapter, the loss of her identity. Ballet had been her anchor, and without it, she found herself adrift in a sea of uncertainty and despair. In the years that followed, Kelly's life took a darker turn. She moved away from the structured world of ballet into a life marked by instability and chaos. She began to frequent nightclubs, living a nocturnal life that was in stark contrast to the disciplined days of her ballet career. This new world was exciting but also dangerous. It exposed her to elements and experiences that were harmful, both physically and mentally. To survive, she resorted to selling her body, a decision born out of desperation and a profound sense of loss. The nightlife was a far cry from the world of ballet, but it provided something that Kelly craved: attention. In the dimly lit corners of nightclubs, she found a new audience. But this attention was fleeting and superficial, nothing like the applause that greeted her performances on stage. It was during this period that her relationship with her father deteriorated further. The abuse she suffered at his hands only compounded her feelings of worthlessness and despair. The internet became her new stage, a platform where she could control her narrative and receive the attention and sympathy she so desperately sought. The positive reactions she received for her initial posts, documenting her struggles and abuse, gave her a taste of the validation she had been missing. It was a turning point in her life, a pivot from seeking attention through talent and performance to seeking it through the narration of her struggles and fabricated illnesses. The descent into deception. In the labyrinth of Kelly Ronahan's life, the exit from ballet marked not an end, but the beginning of a new, more perilous journey. This chapter of her life was not choreographed in dance studios, but scripted in the shadows of the digital world. Here, in the vast expanse of the internet, Kelly found a new audience, one that would unwittingly become complicit in a story of deception and illness fabrication. Kelly's initial foray into the digital world was seemingly innocuous. She started by sharing her life experiences, particularly the challenges and abuses she faced. These posts struck a chord with the online community. People empathized with her struggles, offering support and encouragement. This reaction was like a balm to Kelly's bruised soul. The validation and attention she received filled the void left by her departure from ballet. It was addictive. Encouraged by the response, Kelly's posts began to evolve. What started as a sharing of genuine struggles slowly morphed into a narrative laced with exaggeration and fabrication. She began to claim various health issues, each more serious and complex than the last. The more she posted about her supposed ailments, the more attention she received. Comments, messages of support, and followers poured in. It was a twisted form of applause, one that fed her need for attention, but pushed her further into the web of lies she was weaving. The internet, with its anonymity and lack of physical presence, provided the perfect platform for her fabrications. There was no need for immediate proof or verification. Her words were taken at face value, and the empathy of the online community knew no bounds. Kelly exploited this to the fullest. She began to document her journey through various medical procedures and treatments, most of which were fictitious. Her story took a more dramatic turn when she claimed to be suffering from a rare blood disorder that required frequent transfusions. This particular fabrication caught the attention of not just her followers, but also the media. Campaigns and fundraisers were organized in her name. She became a cause célèbre, the face of a struggle against a mysterious illness. The irony was stark. While she received blood transfusions and medical care, the ailment she claimed to battle was a figment of her imagination. As her story gained traction, so did the scale of her deception. Kelly began to document her hospital visits and treatments with photographs and detailed accounts. Each post was crafted to elicit maximum sympathy and engagement. Her followers became invested in her journey, cheering her on, offering words of support, and sharing her story with others. In this digital echo chamber, Kelly's lies were amplified, reaching far and wide. The impact of her deception was profound. People with genuine health issues, inspired by her story, reached out to her, seeing her as a beacon of hope and resilience. Kelly's response to these interactions was to delve deeper into her fabricated world, often offering advice and support based on her own fictional experiences. However, as is the nature of lies, they began to unravel. Some in the medical community started questioning the veracity of her claims. Discrepancies in her story, the lack of a clear medical diagnosis, and the improbability of her symptoms raised red flags. But by then, Kelly was too deep into her narrative to back out. She doubled down, weaving more intricate details into her story to explain away the inconsistencies. The spiral of lies, from anemia to amputation. Kelly Ronahan's descent into the abyss of deceit was not a sudden plunge but a gradual spiral, where each turn brought her deeper into a world of fabricated illness and sympathy-seeking. The early claims of anemia were just the tip of the iceberg, a prelude to a series of increasingly severe and complex fabrications that would culminate in one of the most shocking acts of self-deception, the amputation of her own legs. The anemia saga began innocuously enough. Kelly claimed to suffer from a rare and severe form of blood disorder that necessitated regular transfusions. This illness, while serious, was still within the realm of common understanding and sympathy. Her followers on social media, by now a significant number, rallied around her, offering support and kind words. They were unwitting actors in a play where the script was written by Kelly, and the plot was thickening with each post. As her narrative unfolded, Kelly documented her supposed treatments and hospital visits with meticulous detail. Pictures of her in hospital beds, IV lines running into her arms, and heartfelt captions about her struggle became a regular feature on her social media. Her story gained traction, catching the eye of local media and even inspiring donation campaigns and charity events. However, as the months rolled by, the frequency and severity of her medical claims escalated. The transfusions, she claimed, were becoming more frequent and more urgent. Her condition was, according to her, deteriorating. But behind the scenes, doubts were beginning to surface. Medical professionals started questioning the legitimacy of her claims, noting inconsistencies and a lack of concrete medical evidence. It was amidst these growing suspicions that Kelly's narrative took a dramatic turn. She began to speak of complications arising from her supposed anemia, complications so severe that they led to the necrosis of her legs. The gravity of this new development was staggering. Amputation, a drastic and life-altering procedure, was now being presented as the only solution to her worsening condition. The shock of this new claim hit her followers hard. Sympathy poured in, along with donations and support. Kelly, now the protagonist of a tragedy of her own making, documented every step of this new journey. From the agonizing decision to amputate to the aftermath of the surgery, her followers were given a front-row seat to what appeared to be a fight for survival against overwhelming odds. But in reality, this new chapter in her story was the culmination of a long-standing pattern of deception. Medical experts and some observant followers began to voice their doubts more loudly. The symptoms she described, the rapid progression of her condition, and the supposed medical interventions did not add up. It became increasingly clear to many that Kelly was fabricating, or at the very least, grossly exaggerating her medical condition. The amputation of her legs was a shocking and drastic measure, one that defied logical medical reasoning. It raised serious questions about the nature of her illness and the authenticity of her claims. This act was the zenith of her deception, a point where her narrative, built on a foundation of lies and half-truths, reached its most dramatic and disturbing peak. The Psychology of Munchausen by Internet. Kelly Ronahan's story, a tapestry of intricate lies and digital deceit, provides a textbook case for understanding Munchausen by Internet. This psychological phenomenon, a subset of factitious disorder, imposed on self, involves feigning, exaggerating, or inducing physical or psychological symptoms purely for gaining attention, sympathy, or reassurance. In the digital age, the internet has become a fertile ground for such disorders. The anonymity, accessibility, and vast audience it provides create an environment where individuals like Kelly can craft and narrate false stories of illness and hardship, receiving instant and often overwhelming sympathy and attention. Munchausen by Internet is characterized by a few key psychological elements, each exemplified in Kelly's case. Firstly, there's the need for attention and sympathy. Kelly's transition from ballet, a field where she received applause and recognition, to the digital sphere, where she garnered attention through fabricated illnesses, highlights this need. The positive reinforcement she received in the form of likes, comments, and shares only served to fuel her fabrications further. Secondly, there's the aspect of control. Kelly's narrative allowed her to control her story and the audience's perception of her. This control can be intoxicating and addictive. In the real world, Kelly had lost control over her career, her body image, and her personal life. But in the virtual world, she was the master of her narrative, choosing when and how to reveal her illnesses and garner sympathy. The third element is the creation of a sympathetic persona. In Munchausen by Internet, individuals often create personas that are the epitome of suffering and resilience. Kelly's portrayal of herself as a struggling, chronically ill individual, fighting against all odds, appealed to the human tendency to empathize with and support the underdog. Another crucial aspect is the role of community. The internet provides access to numerous support groups and forums. These communities can inadvertently reinforce the fictitious narratives of individuals like Kelly, as members rally to support someone they believe to be genuinely suffering. The validation from these communities can create a feedback loop, encouraging further fabrications. Additionally, there's the ease of deception online. The internet allows for the creation of detailed and seemingly credible medical histories with little chance of immediate verification. In Kelly's case, her detailed accounts of hospital visits, treatments, and surgeries were taken at face value by her followers. The lack of physical interaction made it easier for her to maintain her deception. The aftermath and public reaction. The unraveling of Kelly Ronahan's fabricated world of illness and deception was as dramatic as its creation. As the truth emerged, the public reaction was a maelstrom of disbelief, anger, and disillusionment. This chapter examines the aftermath of her deceit, the response from her online community, and the consequences she faced, both personally and publicly. The revelation that Kelly's illnesses were largely fictitious sent shockwaves through her online community. Followers who had empathized with, supported, and even donated to her cause felt betrayed. Many expressed their feelings of anger and disappointment publicly, commenting on her social media posts and sharing their sense of being duped. This backlash was not just a reaction to the financial aspect, but also an emotional response to having invested in Kelly's story and well-being. Some followers, however, reacted with sympathy, understanding that her actions were the result of deeper psychological issues. They urged others to consider the mental health aspects at play, highlighting the complexity of disorders like Munchausen by Internet. This divide in reactions is reflective of the broader societal struggle to balance accountability with empathy for mental health issues. The medical community's reaction was a mix of vindication and concern. For those who had suspected the truth behind her claims, the revelation was a validation of their professional skepticism. However, there was also a sense of dismay at how her actions might impact genuine patients. Kelly's case heightened awareness about the need for vigilance against potential cases of factitious disorders. Medical professionals expressed concern about the potential for cynicism and mistrust towards patients with rare or unusual medical conditions as a result of such high-profile cases of deceit. Consequences for Kelly were severe. She faced public humiliation and the loss of trust from her online community, which had been her support system. The backlash also extended to her personal life, with strained relationships and a tarnished reputation. Legally, she faced scrutiny, especially regarding the funds raised through donations and charity events under false pretenses. The legal implications of her actions, including potential fraud charges, loomed large, although the extent of legal action taken against her remains a complex issue, mired in considerations of her mental health. The impact of Kelly's deception went beyond her personal consequences. It sparked a broader conversation about the trustworthiness of online narratives and the responsibility of social media platforms in verifying content. Her case became a cautionary tale about the darker side of internet culture, where sympathy and support can be easily manipulated. Similar cases and wider implications. The phenomenon of Munchausen by Internet, as exemplified in Kelly Ronahan's case, is not an isolated one. The digital age has seen a proliferation of similar cases, each with its unique narrative, but bound by the common thread of deceit for sympathy and attention. These cases highlight the broader implications of this disorder in an era where virtual interactions often replace physical ones. One notable case is that of Belle Gibson, an Australian wellness blogger who claimed to have cured her terminal brain cancer through alternative therapies and nutrition. Gibson garnered a massive following and released a best-selling app and cookbook. However, her story unraveled when it was revealed that she never had cancer. Gibson's deception, much like Ranahan's, raises questions about the ethics of storytelling and the responsibility of influencers in the digital space. Another case is that of Anna Stubblefield, a university professor who claimed to have facilitated communication for a nonverbal, intellectually disabled man, leading to a controversial and ultimately overturned conviction for sexual assault. The case brought to light issues regarding the validation of disabilities and the susceptibility of vulnerable individuals to exploitation under the guise of assistance. These cases, along with Ranahan's, underscore the broader implications of Munchausen by internet. Firstly, there's the issue of trust in the digital age. The ease with which false narratives can be spun and disseminated online challenges our ability to discern truth from fiction. This erosion of trust has ramifications beyond individual cases, affecting how we interact with and perceive information on digital platforms. Secondly, there's the impact on communities, particularly those formed around health and wellness. Individuals genuinely suffering from illnesses may find their experiences scrutinized and doubted due to cases of deception. This skepticism can lead to a lack of support or outright hostility, further isolating those who are truly in need. The role of social media platforms in these cases is also significant. Platforms that facilitate the sharing of personal stories and community building also bear the responsibility of curbing misinformation and deceit. The challenge lies in balancing freedom of expression with the prevention of harm, a task that is becoming increasingly complex in the face of sophisticated deceit. Another implication is the strain on healthcare resources. Fabricated illnesses often lead to unnecessary medical tests and treatments, diverting resources from those who genuinely need them. This not only has a financial impact, but also burdens healthcare professionals who could be attending to real patients.